Another wave of tariffs. We break down the market's reactions. Six Flags has an activist shareholder. Will the amusement park company sell off its land? And my conversation today in studio with venture capitalist and DJ Steve Aoki. His views on spotting rising brands, investing in health and wellness, and where culture meets meme stocks. For Friday, September 26th, it's Brew Markets Daily, and I'm Anne Berry. Counting down to my interview with Steve Aoki. But before we get there, a quick look at the latest trade moves from the White House. Now, a few weeks ago here on the show, we reviewed the performance of Williams-Sonoma, owner of the Pottery Barn and West Elm furniture retailers, noting that it was doing particularly well executing against a strategy of clear consumer branding, a move into designing commercial spaces, and in incorporating AI into its advisory services. But the outlook remains subject to one factor outside its control, an investigation by President Trump into furniture imports, which was announced on August 22nd. Well, starting October 1st, 50% tariffs will now land on imports of kitchen and bathroom cabinets with a 30% levy on upholstered furniture. Announced late yesterday, Williams-Sonoma stock responded this morning with a 2% drop, a fall mirrored by RH, that's Restoration Hardware, and Wayfair. In contrast, shares of Lazy Boy gained 3%, while Ethan Allen Interiors nudged up just over 1%, both mainly manufactured in the United States. And from October 1st, there will also be a 100% tariff on any branded or patented pharmaceutical product unless the maker is building a plant in America. This is according to a post made by President Trump on Truth Social late yesterday. Now, about 90% of drugs consumed in the US are actually generic. That's according to the Wall Street Journal today. And so those would not be affected by the tariffs. Nevertheless, shares of US pharma companies Pfizer and Eli Lilly nudged up on the news, as did those of London-headquartered GSK, which does manufacture here in the US. 25% tariffs were also announced for heavy trucks, many of which are assembled in Mexico, prompting a drop in the price of Daimler truck shares. Roughly the same time that these were announced, it was a busy day at the White House, President Trump signed an order approving the spin-off of TikTok's US operations from China-based ByteDance in a deal valued at $14 billion, which came in a little bit lower than had been expected. Now, check out our episode from this past Monday on why I think this turns other social media companies into acquisition targets. And we're going to come back to this story early next week to break down all the details. Meanwhile, coming up on this show, do DJing skills translate into investing prowess? My conversation with Steve Aoki and market movers rounding out today. But first, Brew Markets Daily is sponsored by Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. Let's throw it over to our producer, John, who is excited it's the end of the week. We all are TGIF.
TGIF, I love me some Fridays, Anne, because what does Friday mean? It means payday. And what does payday mean? 401k days. Because one day when I'm retired, every day will be a Friday.
You've definitely got that TGIF vibe, John. Well, for a limited time, Public users can earn an uncapped 1% match on all IRA transfers and rollovers. That's a 1% match. So get started at public.com/brewmarkets. That's public.com/brewmarkets.
Paid for by Public Investing, full disclosures and podcast description.
Celebrities. They've created consumer brands, look at Skims and Rhode Skincare. They've backed SPACs, and they've co-founded investment firms. Look at the Chainsmokers Mantis Venture Capital and Serena Williams' Serena Ventures. When athletic and creative talents have crossed over into commerce, the results, like any entrepreneurial journey, have had mixed results. Some have soared, others have failed. Well, to dissect this, I'm thrilled to be joined in studio by Steve Aoki, the global DJ, producer, and entrepreneur. In addition to cross-genre artistry, performing and recording, Steve founded the Aoki Foundation to support organizations in brain science and research. And as if he wasn't busy enough, just this summer, he launched the venture-focused Aoki Labs. So can the skills of a successful DJ translate into delivering success as an investor? And can it when the money at stake is other people's? Well, listen and you decide. Welcome to Brew Markets.
You're
a busy man. You're here for like 2 seconds in New York, right? Yeah. You're going off to tell me what you're going to do at Marquee this evening. I have happy memories of Marquee.
So they're calling it Marquee 3.0.
Okay.
I've been playing Marquee since 2005, so 20 years of playing there. I mean,
this is an institution as a nightclub
really
in New York, just for the audience.
Yeah, it really is. So I'm happy to cut the ribbon, so to speak, on this new version of Marquee. And I mean, that'll be my third show. Today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have 2 shows before then.
Got it. So Brew Markets is the warm-up act.
Well, yeah,
to
that's
the
the
evening's
pre-party for sure.
Let's start with your investing. Steve, we'll come to some of the other fun stuff, but let's talk about investing. You've actually been a private investor for decades.
Yeah.
I read that you were early in Uber and Pinterest. How did that come about?
Yeah, I started my investing journey in like the early 2010s.
Okay.
And that's when I finally started making money.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, now I'm going to start putting in. I first put into art. I was buying certain things, but not too much. And then I was like, okay, I've amassed like an interesting network of people, mainly people in music, but the people of music, there's like this crossover of people of music and people investing that really engage with me. And then, I just like, it's very similar to, I've been in A&R before I was a DJ.
Mm-hmm.
For my record label. It's similar to that. As an A&R, you want to find acts before they blow up. You want to find like something bubbling, and it's exciting to be part of, a sound that's like you think is going to be the next thing. That's exciting. I've always had that interest since 1996. That's when I started my label. So investing is similar in that same fashion. It's when you see a business that's like you just feel like, hey, this actually can scale. This can actually be of service to a lot more people. You could see this becoming global, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Just being part of that early conversation and being a part of that is so similar.
That's
that same feeling. Yeah.
That's so interesting. But there's a boring question before we dive more into what you just said, which is you started investing in these early stage businesses when you'd made some money. Did you invest in boring stuff before that? Did you have a stock portfolio, a bonds portfolio? Did you have a house? Or did you go straight to the sort of more speculative is a difficult word, but
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I did. When I first started making money as a DJ, this is like late 2000s. Then I started putting money down in my house in LA. I lived in an apartment, small apartment on DeLong Pre and El Centro. It's like $800 a month, and I got my first house. With the money that I was making, I was like, oh, wow, I can actually go buy something. So that was the first thing that I actually put money into. And then the second would be art. I bought a retina for $30,000. So that was and the other thing that I put money into was restaurants.
Okay.
So that was like the three things I was looking at was like art, like collectibles in different forms, but restaurants and real estate, which is only one house. I didn't have a whole lot of money. I just was like, wow, I am liquid. I am now out of my debt. Like I was in debt when I was running my label as I was becoming a DJ.
Yeah.
And then when the money was coming in, that's when I was deploying it in those 3 things. And my mom always said real estate is the answer. And my mom is big in the public markets.
Yeah.
She was really early with Tesla. She was early with Apple. She was early with a couple of different companies. And she, I kind of learned that from her. But I didn't really put too much money in the stock market. I really didn't touch that much. It was minimal.
Got it.
I dabbled with it.
Okay.
I almost dabbled with it I like to dabble early.
Okay.
I was early. I would say I was early with NVIDIA because I got in 2019.
Oh, wow.
So
that's worked out pretty well for you then.
Yeah, that did really well.
Yeah.
Because I put in a lot then because I just, at that stage, I really felt like there's certain companies that were, now how important they are in culture. But like I was looking at certain companies like that. It's almost similar, to what we're talking about.
Did you keep the stock? Do you still hold your NVIDIA
Yeah, I do.
stock?
I never sold it.
Well, that's what's so interesting from what you just said, Steve, is you went into NVIDIA when it was still really known as a gaming chip.
Yeah.
Right? Before it sort of blew up in AI.
I'm a gamer too.
I was going to ask, was that part of your patent spotting process? Is that how you saw its potential?
I think a lot of the bubbling happens in niche worlds. Like when you're in, like, for example, I'm wearing a Demon Slayer jacket.
Yeah.
Like that's a niche.
Yeah.
Highly passionate area. Gaming, a very niche, highly passionate area. Collectibles, the same. Even EDM, whatever it might be, you feel the energy with not, millions of people, but a small amount of people, but they're louder than millions of people, millions of passive people.
Because the volume comes from the passion.
Yeah, and so I'm attracted to that.
Interesting.
So just in general, even if I don't know the culture, if they're loud and they're small and they're vocal and they're passionate, I'm serious. I'm just very curious. I'm very like, why? What's happening there? Because I was part of that when I was younger in music.
Yeah.
We were like I was in punk and hardcore music when I was a teenager in college. And we were very small, but we were really loud. And it was exciting to be part of that energy,
Yeah.
And there's certain things that aren't meant to be scaled, like that's not meant to be scaled, so to speak. But there's other things that are. And when you see the certain companies or the vehicles or the cultural moments, that's exciting to be part of that.
You've actually raised some money. You've now raised a fund in Aoki Labs. You've got other people backing you. In the world of investing, it's the world I've grown up in, there's no place to hide, right? Your investments do well and you see the numbers. They don't do so well and the failure is writ large in the math. How do you feel about the visibility into success or failure that now is going to come with being a fund manager for you?
So, like as we talked about, I've been investing on my own for 15 years-ish, and I've been doing it with a very small team. Like it's just me and my managers, my music managers, and our network that we've been growing. But interestingly, the network that we've been growing, it's kind of like when you focus direction on something you love, then it attracts you like that. It's a magnet, right? So as I was doing more investing, there's other people that were also in music or entertainment, but also investing that would get attracted to what we were doing once we put it out there. And over the last 10 years, it just grew to a really good place where it needed structure. It needed a bigger team.
Yeah.
It needed a team more in that space.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Aoki Labs was really formed, is putting a structure, putting a bigger team in place, thinking about other people's money, because we're doing this, it's not just with my money now, we're doing this with a group of people.
They trust you. They're saying, I trust you. I vote with my money. I'm backing you. Is that nerve-wracking?
I don't think about it as nerve-wracking, but I definitely on the due diligence side of the companies we invest into labs, we're putting far more diligence into that than if it was my money.
Yeah.
I've taken some risks and loss, of course, we all have. But with labs, that's why you need structure. If it was just like, hey, just invest in me, I don't have a team, yes, it's far more nerve-wracking because it's all on me. I have a team that actually does just, the double checks, the triple checks, making sure that this is going to be the safest bet that we're doing for the company. And I'm pretty confident with every single company. I of course, not all of them is going to be successful. I'm happy for a few of them to be successful, but I'm pretty confident on their cultural imprint and how they're approaching sales, how they're doing. There's a lot more that I've learned because of this new team that I've looked into besides, how I used to invest. But I look at the portfolio and I'm extremely proud of it.
Well, let's talk about that portfolio.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the sectors that you're focusing on before we dig into some of the specific companies. Health, longevity, mental performance. You've talked a lot about these publicly. I've read a number of interviews that you've given over the years. Talk to me about where you pull together those two threads, your own personal health and wellness, and then the opportunities to invest that you spot in that journey.
Yeah. So the fund is really this intersection between health, longevity, just the overall world view of that, and entertainment. Anything that's pinging culture in a way that where people are like having to look over there, like, oh, what's going on over here? That's interesting to me. Like those two areas of focus. Some of them just have to be entertainment for me.
Okay.
Some of them don't have to have a health component because at the end of the day, I'm an entertainer as well. Like I'm looking at what is pinging emotion, what is drawing attention, and is it something that's applicable to me? as well. You know, if it's applicable to me or applicable to the culture that I'm part of,
Right.
or that I see that I could see that it's happening, then it's something that becomes into the area that I'm going to investigate. I'm going to be curious about. But health, that's really me.
Yeah.
So that's why all the companies that we invest into in the health side of things, I try personally. You know,
Give me an example. Give me one or two that you've tried and invested in.
Superpower is really interesting. They test. You know, I'm really all about metrics and data.
Okay.
I think once you have the correct metrics and data, then you can actually start healing your body, or you start learning more about your body, what you're deficient in, what you're okay in, what areas you need to focus in, things like that. So metrics and accurate metrics is very important, and that starts with your blood work. So Superpower does 100 biomarkers, and it's $200. And at one point, it was $100,000 to get all that data for just 100 biomarkers, and they're doing it for 200. So at scale, this is something that I believe everyone should get that data. It doesn't matter who you get it from, just get the data. You know, and there's a few other companies that we looked at, but Superpower, I felt like had the best ability to scale. It has a lot more functionality to it. I met with the CEO, spent some time with them. It's also the other thing too is if I can meet with the team, because the idea is important. Idea is important, right? But the people behind the idea are far greater of importance to me. There's a million great ideas, but if the driver in that of the idea is like, if they know how to do the driving, then we're going to put the money into that. So Superpower is a good one. I think that's you know, when it comes to data, I think it's important. There's Super Gut as well that we invested into, Dave Freeberg's company, or he's leading the round. I'm not sure. He's like heavily involved in that. And I think that's also an indicator of just the network. I mean, I'm like talking to all different kinds of people.
Yeah.
I DJ'd the All In event in San Francisco, and I follow the podcast, and I know Chamath as well. So there's like certain areas where, like, you know,
you've got access.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's certain areas there like I want to learn about this.
Yeah.
I'm really, really big on gut health as well.
Right.
I mean, obviously, Aoki Foundation is about brain health.
Yeah, but they're related, right? A lot of research says they're related.
It's so important. All of it's important. Like, you know, so, when I heard about that, I heard his pitch, tried the product.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. I don't think there's anything in that space that was doing what they were doing. Neuro as well. Neuro's, you know, I think they're interesting because, like, I chew Neuro or like take the mints. It's just clean energy. I've been taking Neuro or chewing on the gum for almost 10 years now. Being on tour on the road all the time, you can't always drink coffee everywhere you go, and you need that energy, and it's clean. I used it. It's applicable to my lifestyle. But then they have this other component that's interesting, just their B2C.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
It's what they do B2C. I love following brands that know how to break B2C. You know, I think at one point they made $10 million a month off in just B2C.
Just going direct.
Yeah, like TikTok and, you know, those channels. Just seeing like how they're able to engage and do the sales is incredible. There's certain brands like that, like, you know, that we invest into. Final Boss is another brand that does amazing B2C, amazing direct to consumer.
It's interesting you said a couple of things, Steve. You've said you're looking for that noise getting louder even in niche groups, and it's that connection to culture. You've also said in so many words, you're investing in what you know, right? Because you're actually trying the product, you're spending time with the teams, and you're engaging with brands that resonate with you because they're part of your own wellness journey. If I just come back to the public markets for a minute, and by the way, I'm dying to interview your mum. When you said she invests in public markets. Meme stocks have, to some people, become emblematic of culture in the public stock markets.
Sure.
Do you have a perspective on that?
I did jump into some of it, like during the pandemic.
You did? Okay.
GameStop, I got in early with the GameStop.
Why did you? Tell me why you did that.
I'm a gamer.
Okay.
You know, and I was like, this is fun. You know, I had a lot more time at home.
Okay.
I got really big on NFTs and I was diving down that path. I was already big in crypto. I started investing in crypto in 2018.
Oh, did you? Which coins did you buy?
Bitcoin, Ethereum.
Okay.
Put $500K on that in 2018. And I held and I continued to buy up until 100K.
Okay.
Bitcoin, when Bitcoin hit 100K, I still bought. I'm a big believer of Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Where do you think Bitcoin gets to?
I think it does hit a million.
You do,
I think
you're
it
in the
does
$1 million
break a million.
club.
Eventually, it'll get there. I think
Okay.
it's eventually going to happen. I mean, I remember when it was like 20, I was like, it's going to get to 100,000. And the fluctuation happened. I still continue to buy.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when it was at 60 and I bought it, went down to 20, I bought it again. And then went to, you know, I just continued to buy. I love Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. I love Ethereum. I have some Solana as well, but those are like the three that, and Ripple. Those are like actually the four that I have money in.
Okay.
But my main two are Bitcoin, Ethereum.
So let's just go back to the meme stock piece. So you get into GameStop. You're a gamer.
Yeah.
Right? There were others. The thing that you said was it was fun.
Yeah.
Now, if we were to put GameStop today, it's a bit of an unfair question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. If we put GameStop today in front of your diligence team at Aoki Labs, do you think they would be saying, no, Steve, don't do it. The fundamentals just aren't there.
I don't know.
That's what I mean by the meme stock piece versus you're actually doing real diligence. You're investing in companies where you're trying the product. You have a long-term belief in the growth versus meme stocks where people are saying there's a disconnect. So how do you, in your own mind, say, I'm going to do this for fun, but I'm going to do this because I'm going to do this over here because I really think we're in it for the long haul and this is going to be successful.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to the fun aspect, we completely push that out of the labs.
Right.
If it's me, it's like then it's like almost gambling at the casino. It's my money. I could lose whatever money I brought to the
That's
table.
your risk. That's your dime.
My risk.
Right.
So I don't mind. I'm not going to put other people's money into that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure my team would be like, this does not fit our world. And I've seen a lot of no's that I thought would be yeses.
Oh, that's interesting.
So my team has rejected a lot more than I was like, but this is looking really good.
Yeah.
But, you know, and then they're like, you know, they do their thing. There's a lot of stuff I don't know that I'm happy that they know.
Right.
And there's a lot of things that I'm like, okay, these are things that I'm going to bring to the table and I'm not married to it.
You can be dispassionate.
Absolutely.
You can be unemotional in your investing.
And I've invested in things that didn't actually cross the labs. Personally, I
Right.
put money in.
Right.
And I still believed in it, but if they don't agree with it, I'm not going to push them.
Let's talk about a more general trend of high-profile people, celebrities, moving into business, whether it's starting brands. Hailey Bieber just had a fantastic exit with Road to Elf Beauty. Jessica Alba, back in the day with Honest. They've also gone into funds with a bit more mixed success. Kim Kardashian with Sky, which I think they've parted ways. Sound Ventures, Gaia Siri and Ashton Kutcher. That's worked out very well. But they have a mixed history, sort of celebrity-backed ventures. As you come to this, is there any part of you that goes, oh God, are people going to take me seriously or not if I'm a celebrity and I'm now managing money?
Yeah. I don't think that way now. I would have thought that way 15 years ago or the early 2010s when I was getting into it. I mean, I made some really good moves back then, but I still would have felt really uncomfortable. But just being in the space of investing for this period of time, I feel confident because I'm doing my own daily due diligence, and then I have a team, you know, breaking that down if it's worthy. So having the team there, I mean, like my team is really strong in that space. So having that and having me road test and try a lot of these things, especially on the health side of things, entertainment side, I don't necessarily need to drink sip margs, you know, Alex Earl's brand. I see what she's done in culture. I have a relationship with Miles from Palm Tree. He's a big believer in it. We looked at it. My team looked at it. We're like, okay, this is something we think that has this ability. You know, we're looking at another brand that's also a celebrity-backed brand that has the numbers, has the jump. I don't know if I can mention it, but because we're still talking to them about it. But that's another one that we're looking into that has the potential. But there's plenty of other celebrity-backed brands that, like, they don't have what it takes to get over that hump.
Right.
They have the initial, like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
Everyone see me. But can they get over the hump of actually writing this business up? You know, but there's a few that obviously have it. You know, you already named a few of them.
Yeah.
I think the daily part of it for me, like trying things daily. Whenever I get into a brand, I meet with the team if I can, meet with the CEO, talk with them. Another brand I really like that we invested into is Symbiotica. I'm a big fan of liposomals. It's like it's a vitamin brand where it's a liposomal delivery. So you take the vitamins it's like a liquid gel, and it has the best delivery system for vitamins you take to make your liver younger.
This whole area has not been without controversy, though, Steve. And if I think about sort of look at a really big company, for example, there was a lot of concern that Apple, when it was moving more into biological data, that somehow that data wasn't safe or it was risk of being misappropriated. And there are other companies who do collect the similar kind of data that you've talked about. And one area of concern has been, well, look, if the health insurance companies get a hold of this, does that affect the way in which people can get access to insurance if, in fact, the data shows there's something that's not as optimal, not as desirable? Where do you stand on this idea of data privacy? And would you have a point of view if Generation Labs or Superpower came to you and said, we want to sell to Apple, for example?
Right.
You're like, that's great, I've got an exit, or do you have an emotional reaction to that?
Yeah, I mean, when you say it like that, I mean, I guess it did happen with 23andMe.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And which got hacked too, right?
Yeah,
the
it
data
got hacked.
issues.
So
yeah.
that is an issue. That's why, when it comes to getting that information, if you can close the loop and store that information, off the cloud, but have that, I don't know how you would do that. I think
interesting.
like this kind of question though is really important to have that discussion to safeguard that information. There are I talked to a friend who has his own. He has a computer that's offline.
Yeah.
That's that he puts all his family's blood work into, so it doesn't actually go into the cloud. And then he analyzes that blood work for his family, so then they can get all that information that they're looking for without it potentially getting leaked.
So it's on premise, yeah.
Yeah.
It's literally hard drive.
So people are doing that that are obsessed with this data, but without getting compromised.
Yeah.
But when I think about it, I would rather have the data than not.
Interesting.
So if I have to choose, this might be leaked, and this could affect your insurance. This could affect a lot of different things, or you could, or no information. I would much prefer the information.
Knowledge is power. That's where you land on that side of the equation. Let's continue with tech. Let's talk about AI in music. You've invested in a company called Music.ai. I just want to talk about something that Spotify announced yesterday. It removed millions of tracks of what it's called AI slop from its platform. I really want them to define AI slop. I want them to play a track and say, this is AI slop. And it included sound-alikes. You personally have nearly 3 billion music streams to your name. Are you not worried about AI ripping off your style, ripping off your vision, ripping off your IP? And if you are, why are you investing in AI companies that are in this area?
So this particular company, it does AI mixing and mastering, which, there is a skill set to mixing.
Yeah,
it's really important to have a beautifully mixed track. But if you can get AI to do that, when the majority of the creative component is done,
the origination of the music is done. That's
I'm okay with that company doing the mixing and mastering, because that area can alleviate a lot more just energy and focus to what's most important. So when I had a meeting with them about that, I was like, okay, I'm actually fine with that. I actually think that's a need for producers and artists to have, a brilliant sounding mix and master that's done by AI. And it's going to happen regardless, right? So, I mean, the AI, yes, it's going to come into the creative aspect of music, and that's something that you're bringing up right now. I'm not afraid so much right now because I haven't seen it affect me. Now, yeah, hypothetically, moving forward, am I going to be out of a job because AI sounds like Steve Aoki and like my Steve Aoki music doesn't get as popular? I'm in a lucky position. I've already,
You're established, but what about
I've
the
already
next
become
gen?
yeah, exactly. So
What about
it's different
you?
for me.
Yeah, it's different for you.
Yeah,
But what about the teenager who dreams of being you?
So the most important thing, and this is what I do with my label, is help these artists get on the stage.
Interesting.
AI can't get on that stage.
I'm so glad you brought this up because I was going to ask, let's talk experiential.
Okay, before we get to experiential, so a lot of times, especially with electronic music, you need to see the act and then you feel it. You need to see John Summit perform and then you're like, I get his music. You need to see and to be feeling the experience. That's one thing that AI and the digital world can't replicate, is to be in the crowd amongst all these people feeling that same energy. You can never take that experience away.
Literally the sound waves. I grew up in London. Did you ever play Fabric in London?
Yeah.
I remember when Fabric opened. So you would feel the walls vibrate with the music. And to your point, AI can't replicate that. But is there a world in which, I'm making this up, does the Sphere at some point in Las Vegas become a place where AI-generated music gets pumped out through that sound system? And yes, you get people into the venue, but the music's created by AI, the DJing is being delivered by AI.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that people are in the same space. So is there still a world in which the actual human creative gets cut out here?
I totally see that happening.
You do? Okay.
And I see that being a sellout.
Wow. Okay.
Because it's an experience.
Yeah.
It's an AI experience. It's like it's designated as that, Like you see a movie, it's not a play. I mean, you see anime, they're not real people. They're digitally created characters. Like AI created music experiences will happen.
Yeah.
That's 100% going to happen. And at Sphere might be the perfect spot for it. But yeah, I just went to go see the Tomorrowland Insomniac Unity show and actually jumped on stage with Alan Walker and we played the DJ set where you mix something like this, because the first 2 hours of that show is visuals and most amazing visuals from Insomniac, who does EDC and all the big festivals, and Tomorrowland, who obviously is Tomorrowland. And they mix their own two visuals, and you're just completely captivated with music of, the greatest hits of EDM and the most insane visuals that capture that. So I think it's going to happen. I was blown away. I could have watched 8 hours of that. Incredible. And I was just like completely entranced.
Incredible.
Yeah.
We're going to get to some rapid fire questions to wrap. But before we do that, I want to get back to this sort of artisanal human creativity versus what AI could do. You've collected art for a long time. You are helping musicians get on the stage. If you were talking to yourself aged 9, call it now, would you say go after EDM, or would you say learn to play a physical instrument? If you were talking to an artist, would you say do photography, or would you say learn to paint? Do you know what I mean? Are some parts of this more easily displaced by AI than others? And where do you think creative should focus and ultimately make money because it becomes a more rare product?
Okay, so now I have a son. So I can now talk to my son.
How old's your son?
He's 2 months.
He's 2 months, okay.
Yeah, so I'm already thinking about these conversations already. So with my son, what I would tell him is I want him to try everything. Whatever that like he naturally enjoys doing, especially at a young age, I want him to master that.
Will you let him have an iPhone?
I mean, yes, eventually, yeah. I'm not against technology at a young age. I just don't know when that cutoff should happen. Having a lot of conversations now. I mean, he's too young to even think about when I'm going to give him a tablet or something. I did see a funny meme where the dad gave his son, instead of like a tablet or a phone to look at, he gave him like a CD player of you know, from the 90s.
Yeah.
And so the son can only play whatever's on the CD player.
And you have to clear the button click.
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
needs to
You
actually
can see
go.
the CD-ROM, whatever. So it's like, okay, I just play a game on the CD. So he's just completely limited.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe that's what I'll give him for the beginning. But I think it's important to try everything. Like I wasn't a DJ at first. I was a guitarist and a singer.
Mm-hmm.
And I played bass and I played drums and I played all kinds of instruments. And I was in bands for years. And I tried all these different things. And eventually I retired those things. And I was like, oh, let me try something different. And I ended up DJing actually later in my musical life. And I started playing music when I was 15 years old. And I didn't start DJing until I was like 22 after college, you know? So that's old. As far as like, you know, the musical spurt of learning about music is to start DJing 7 years after you actually pick up an instrument. And I didn't know DJing would be the thing that would shoot me to the moon.
But did you become a good DJ because you had mastered the art of playing physical instruments? No.
No. I mean, I didn't become a great DJ. I mean, I felt like I became a great DJ because of a multitude of reasons.
Okay.
It's not just from, you know, learning how to play instruments, not just from learning how to scratch on vinyl, you know, at the time when I was learning vinyl at first, or how to mix a record really well. It's not those things that's why people follow you. It's how you penetrate culture. Like whether it's your music or whether it's a live show, whether it's whatever you may do, there could be like the kid that got kicked in the face from like 7 years ago. It's like, I'll never forget that show. It was the best day of my life. It was my birthday, and I'll never forget it. 50 years later, he still remembers that. So just me throwing cake in your face might be the reason why you like me. You know, there's so many different reasons why I, you know, have made an imprint on people's lives.
And lodged in their memory banks.
Yeah, so you have to try all these different things. At the end of the day, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
You want to entertain people. You want to make them feel something. That's the most important, is how do you make people feel something special that they get the you know, the hairs rising on their arms. And they'll never forget. Like I still remember when I saw Daft Punk in 2006 and I was crying. I was literally crying. And I was like, this is life-changing. I was melted into a ball on the ground and I rose to a whole new person. I was completely transformed from that show. So there's certain things that happen that you want to feel, you want to inspire.
Can AI do that though, Steve? Can AI do to humans what Daft Punk did to you? Can only humans do that to other humans?
That's, you know, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. It's hard. For me, it's difficult to say that it can, because I haven't experienced that. But I don't know what the future holds.
Yeah.
I sat with Ray Kurzweil, who has this book called The Singularity is Near.
Yeah, it's a great book.
And we honored him at the Aoki Foundation. He's been like for me, one of the biggest heroes, mentors, as far as authors that I've been reading, just people I've looked up to since I got into his books in like 2010-ish. I mean, I started the foundation almost, I started when I introduced him on stage. I said, without Ray Kurzweil, there is no Aoki Foundation. You know, I created Neon Future, my whole album series, because of him. I wrote a song called Singularity. And when we sat down and we talked about AI, he's like, you don't know what's going to happen. You won't even know the difference, because it's interesting. What can happen in the future is that we're already connected to our phones. It essentially is our third brain, you know? So when we need ChatGPT to answer a question, we just type it in, boom, it's right there. But in the future, we're just going to be, what he's saying is that we're going to be connected to some sort of cloud where we don't know the difference between AI and our left or right brain.
That's the singularity, right?
Right. But that's also in our lifetime, so to speak. So then, like, boom, you're like thinking about, an actor that you're like, oh, that guy that was in that movie. Boom, it just pops up in your head because it's just something that we'll be able to harness. So will AI be able to move us? I mean, I think the real question is, will we be able to combine and merge with AI like this? Because if we will, then it will move us. We won't know the difference.
I'm going to pause there because there's so much more we could talk about, and there's an excuse to get you to come back, actually, Steve, to continue the conversation. But a couple of rapid fire questions before we leave. You just launched Aoki Labs. We've talked about that. But put on your discerning venture capital hat now, and let's make some quick fire investing decisions. Okay. So you get to back one. You get to pick one. Play a music festival in Dubai or a music festival in Las Vegas?
Well, I have to give love to my home, Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. All right. Bose or Sonos?
I am using Bose.
Okay. Pokemon cards or baseball cards?
That's tough, but I'm going to have to go Pokemon.
Why? Come on. Okay, this is a less rapid part of the rapid fire questions, but you've gotten into collectibles. Why Pokemon cards over baseball?
I know more of the Pokemon characters with baseball. I mean, if you're specifically talking baseball, it's easy for me to say Pokemon.
Okay.
Because when it comes to baseball, there's only one guy I root for, and Shohei Ohtani.
Okay, fair enough. You've got the T-shirt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all in on Ohtani. He's the Japanese GOAT,
He's
changing the game for all Japanese people.
And last one for you, bundt cake or sheet cake?
Sheet cake, as long as it's microwaved and soft, so that when I cake you, it melts all over your face.
That's really kind of you. Thank you, Steve. That is a health and wellness and safety perspective right there. Thank you so much for joining, sir. Well, huge thanks to Steve Aoki for joining us. It's the end of the week for the markets. John, what caught your eye today?
Well, beginning with a late morning slump, stocks rebounded after the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, or PCE, showed inflation in line with expectations. The core PCE price index rose 2.9% year over year and 0.2% month over month in August. Intel up again today on talk of more investment in the company, this time from Apple and Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, or TSM. Shares in Intel up over 6% on that speculation. And finally, shares in Six Flags, the amusement park company with the ticker symbol FUN, popped over 5% today on news that an activist investor, Land & Buildings, urged the company to spin off or sell some of its real estate holdings. And for some context, just yesterday, the stock price hit a 52-week low. And maybe make a note for the future. Perhaps we can jargon bust an OpCo-PopCo split, because that is what Land & Buildings is suggesting.
OpCo-PropCo. Thank you, John, for just giving me my weekend homework. So I'll be cracking on with that one. That's it, folks, for today's Brew Markets Daily.
Brew Markets Daily is hosted by Emery and produced by John Crotteau, Tariq Abdellatif, and Emily Milliron. Guest booking by A.B. Silver. Our technical director is Uchenna Nwaogu, and the president of Morning Brew Inc. is Devin Emery. If you'd like to get in touch, send an email or voice memo to brewmarketshow@morningbrew.com.
Wake up Monday with the Morning Brew newsletter and tune in to Neil and Toby on Morning Brew Daily. Have a great weekend and see you back here on Monday, same time, same place.